really hope that I could continue this presentation, talk, and get into the very essential and needed dialogue that the two traditions can have. But unfortunately, today we came all the way from Bhutan to make this unique presentation on the unique spiritual and religious culture that we have in Bhutan. So, Reverend Chair, distinguished guests, participants, hosts, and dear friends, thank you very much for having me and my colleagues from Bhutan to make this presentation. The unique Bhutanese culture can be broadly divided into two, the external and the internal culture. The external physical culture refers to the clothing we wear, the language we speak, and the script we use for writing, and definitely the code of conducts. The inner mental culture refers to the Buddha Dharma, the state religion of the Kingdom of Bhutan. After unification of the country under one rule, codification of the laws and establishment of a unique dual system of governance by Shabdrul Rinpoche Ngawangye, the father of the nation, in the 17th century, Bhutan, earlier known as Homen, was then known as Drugul, the land of the peaceful travel. Over the period of time, the code of conducts, unit cultures, and Buddhist beliefs became the three fundamental ethical foundations of the Bhutanese tradition. Two distinctive culture recouping were done for this famously known as the Hoduk tradition or the Southern Drukpa Kargyu tradition. The first comprises of the continued tradition of the great founding father that we call as Pachu. The second incorporated the tradition of the sons or successors known as the Puchu. This made the Hoduk tradition unique even to that of the Drukpas prevailing in Tibet. From these unique Bhutanese traditions, the Puchu comprises of Kartik Yansung, the art of dance, creations, and chants stand out typically unique to this country. Kar refers to the various ritual and cultural dances. Thi refers to the creation of the mandalas, art, and various ritual and cultural vocational training such as painting, sculpturing, carpentry, etc. The third one, Yang, referred to the ritual chants and performances and usage of various musical instruments that are again very distinctive. Ritual performances and services in Bhutan are indeed very vast and numerous. Likewise, the musical instruments to go along with these chants and their usage are also unique. His Eminence Dalop Rinpoche will present on the mandala, the arts and crafts portion. Venerable Nyezelam Lotesingye, who is sitting in the far right, will present on the ritual chants and performances, and I will present on the tradition of the Marx dances. To begin with, the mental state of a person can be changed due to various factors. At times, these internal and external factors are capable of weakening the mind if not properly dealt with. Buddhists believe that the entire experience of the outer world is simply a projection of the inner mind. As a result, since life and existence are products of our karmic mind, varied experience and suffering will exist as long as we remain in this samsara. But happiness can be achieved too through acts of virtue and selfless in this life. Therefore, we can achieve individual and collective happiness, leading to the well-being of the country just by creating good karma and generation of positive energy with the help of ritual chants, music and dances. The monk body of Bhutan has always taken the responsibility of bringing about happiness and social harmony in our country. Looking back in Bhutan's history, Shabdru Rinpoche created the dual system of governance to combine the secular and religious order to work together for the benefit of our people and country. Laws of the land were also formulated, and the 16 principles of moral conduct and the 10 virtuous deeds derived from the teachings of the Buddha. The codified laws took into consideration both national and individual rights and addresses both physical, material needs and inner spiritual needs. The headquarters of the central monk body, district monk bodies and monasteries perform numerous Marx dance festivals for the benefit of the entire country. These dances are the highlights of the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition that have been in practice for many centuries. Since Buddhism is a religion that deals with human nature, it is indeed a philosophy of mind and therefore of creations. These Marx dances deal with various means and methods directed towards realization of the nature of our own ordinary consciousness. Thus, initiating, listening, and watching these sacred dances can ward off illness, misfortunes, and various strong and settled negative energies, ensuring development of peace, tranquility, and happiness in the country. Therefore, Garcham or Marx dance are the highlights of our Vajrayana Buddhist traditions that have been in practice for centuries. It is still a vibrant living culture that made Bhutan a unique place in the eyes of the world, and many tourists come to Bhutan annually to watch and participate in these festivals. Most of the tourists visiting season and public gathering are also aligned with these festivals. The dynamic Marx dances performed by Buddhist monks and laity are presented in various forms, with or without marks, colorfully distinct costumes holding various weapons and symbolic objects. They are performed to bring blessings, subjugate negative forces, and reinforce positive energies. They are also performed as manifestations and proceedings of deities and dharmapalas in the line of duty to preserve and protect the Buddha Dharma, the practitioners, and the country. These sensuous dance, kallu, rilsum, dance, tune, and music follow the characteristic and deeper aspect of the 9 modes of dances and expressions or 9 sentiments of dramatic arts of wrathful deities: erotic, heroic, repulsive, ferocious, humorous, atrocious, compassionate, wonderful, and serene or peaceful. In Bhutan, Marx dance has become an integral part of our religious practices and culture. Therefore, it has become a very important festival celebrated annually in all our district zones and major monasteries known as Tsichu. Since the dances are performed as part of the ritual performance following the process of visualization of oneself as the deity and visualization and invocation of the mandala of the deity, and the sequenced process of liberation or practice force to achieve enlightenment. and process of subjugation of beholding the promises to protect and liberate sentient beings. In the process, the most dreadful enemy and greatest barrier to enlightenment or realization, our outer bondage of ego clinging, the duality of subject-object, is sacrificially subjugated, and the inner consciousness is liberated and realization achieved. In simple, the process of Zhung or dance clears all negative forces and transforms them into positive energies. Therefore, as I mentioned in the beginning, over the period of time, Marx dance has become an important aspect of our rich cultural and spiritual heritage. Marx dance and ritual ceremonies are actually the development stage of the Vajrayana deity practice. Dances and performers transform their body, speech and mind into the state of the deity through visualization, contemplation, specialized movements and recitation of the mantra and ritual texts of the deity. Once the foundation of the contemplative visualization complete, next the wisdom aspect of the deity is invited from the Buddha field and merged together, creating a live image of the assemblage of refuge deities, able to bestow powerful blessings and grant wishes. But how does ritual service and Marx dance lead to attain enlightenment? In Vajrayana, practice is divided into two: the means aspect, contemplative visualization, and the wisdom aspect, which is the realization. Through contemplative visualization, one can complete accumulation of merit and attain the state of Rupakaya. Similarly, through realization, one can accomplish generation of wisdom and therefore accomplish attainment of the Dharmakaya. Dharma is the path that cleanses all defilements such as attachment, anger, ignorance, etc., that are in the minds of all sentient beings. It is a method that liberates sentient beings from endless suffering of the samsara and lead them towards enlightenment, the state of perpetual bliss. It is a path that avoids harming others and concentrates only on benefiting others, bringing peace, happiness, and contentment through various simple means such as ritual performance and Marx dances. Suffering takes so many different forms in this world. We feel there's little we can do to stop the cycle. Apart from birth, sickness, old age, and death, we have wars, environment, disasters, poverty. Our mind or the inner consciousness is also troubled constantly by these unavoidable, disturbing emotions. So as a sentient being, we wish for some miracle to happen and transform all this suffering into a world of peace and happiness. As such, it has become very important to look for an alternative way to achieve both external happiness and internal contentment. Marx dances and ritual services in our Bhutanese tradition are very vast and unique. We have over 17 volumes of ritual texts performed uniquely different from any other part of the world. Musical instruments and their usage are also typically different to that of even the Tibetan tradition, which is the closest. If you look closer, though several texts we share, yet the musical instruments and melodies are distinctively different. Historical record of the first Tichu festival dates back to 810 AD, during the first visit of Guru Padmasambhava. The local deity, Shegin Karpo, snatched the life soul of King Sindhu Raja and refused to come out from the hiding in the cave at Kurje. Guru Rinpoche had to display a ritual festival with dances and singing, dakinis walking and giggling, near the cave entrance, talking of the spectacle, festival, and the birth of a sacred spring near the cave. This went on for 3 days. And finally, the Shegin Karpo, the local deity, could not resist anymore and came out of to witness the festival, assuming the form of a lion. At that very moment, Guru Rinpoche transformed himself into a Garuda and caught the lion in his claws. Thus, the local deity was tamed and Sindhuraja recovered from the illness. Due to the importance of this story, image of Garuda holding the lion is enshrined on top of the roof of the main temple at Kurje Bhagan. As we know that Buddhism is a religion that deals with human nature, it is the philosophy of mind and therefore of creations. We can divide the practices of Buddhism into two, the Sutra and the Tantra or Vajrayana. The Sutra tradition deals with the philosophy of wisdom and emptiness through appropriate reasoning and systematic approach. The Vajrayana tradition deals with various means and methods directed towards realization of the natural state of our own mind. The Vajrayana tradition enables one to achieve enlightenment much faster. It is believed that if we are diligent in practice, we can achieve enlightenment within one lifetime. Again, since these sacred dances are performed as part of the ritual performances, following the process of visualization of oneself as deity and visualization and innovation of mandala of the deity, the sequent process of liberation of practice force to achieve enlightenment and process of subjugation of beholding the promises to protect and liberate sentient beings. It is indeed a serious Vajrayana practice. In the process, the most dreadful enemy and greatest barrier to enlightenment or realization is subjugated. So in conclusion, the Vajrayana tradition uses skillful means such as liberation through hearing, liberation through sight, liberation through hearing, liberation through taste, etc. Marx dance incorporates liberation through hearing, movements, music, chants, liberation through sight, which is the costumes, marks, instruments, and weapons carried in their hands, and also liberation through touching, which is from the wind and air steered through movements. Therefore, Marx dance is indeed a very important aspect of the Vajrayana tradition and highlights of the spiritual culture of Bhutan that needs to be propagated and preserved for future generations.